Well, hi everyone, this is Alex, and welcome back to Alex Electronics. This is going to be part 3 in the pinball repair series here. If you recall, in the last video, we plugged this thing in for the first time, and we had a couple problems. We had an issue where the score motor just spun forever. It just wouldn't stop, and we narrowed that down to a stuck switch in the coin mechanism, and we fixed that, and things worked a lot better after that. But, oh yeah, the bonus unit also didn't work. The bonus would never go up. So we traced that down to the bonus unit back here, and we did some repairs to it. There were a couple things wrong with it. There was a spring that was popped off. The ground wire that grounds the rotary part of the unit was just completely unscrewed. So I had to put that back on, and the contacts were really dirty and needed to be cleaned. And once we fixed all those issues, the bonus started working perfectly. And most of the scoring logic seems to be working as well. But we did discover a few problems. The score reels are pretty sticky. They do not move the way they're supposed to. So we need to take all those out and clean them up. And also the match unit, those 0, 10, 20, blah, 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 up at the top, where you're supposed to win a free game if your score at the end matches the number, those never light up. So something's clearly wrong there. We also cleaned the coin unit down there last time, and it didn't fix that either. So, and one of the switches on there is for the match unit, so that was kind of interesting. The coin unit is that thing right there, the big rotary thing there. But that didn't fix it either, so I'm wondering if it's something maybe with the player unit. I'm honestly not sure, but let's in this video maybe we'll clean the player unit in the back box here, because it is pretty dirty. That could fix some problems right there, just cleaning up some of these yucky contacts here. And then we need to clean all of these score reels. And then we also need to clean these relay, or maybe not clean them, but do something to these relays, because scoring is not working quite right. Scoring 10 points and scoring 100 points, or excuse me, scoring 100 points is working great, but scoring 10 points and scoring 1,000 points is not. And that means the 100-point relay right here is working fine, but the 10 and the 1,000 are not. The hundreds, the score reels tick up and everything when they're not getting stuck. But the thousands, you get the chime sometimes, but the thousands never tick up. And with the tens, you don't even get a chime normally. So definitely got some work to do there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the entire head unit off and set it over on the table, so we don't have to be standing up working on this. And we can get to it and see what we figure out. Okay, so I've got the head off now, sitting down here on the table, and I think the first thing I'm going to tackle before I do all the score reels is I'm just going to do the player unit here, because we've already done 2 of these other units, so this one it's going to be pretty similar, so it shouldn't be too bad, right? So all I'm going to do, same thing as we did for the others, I'm going to take this rotor off. Before I take it off though, I'm going to make a note of its position, although that's probably actually not important for this one, because this one is continuous rotation, so that's probably not actually that important. But I'll still make a note of its position, take it off, and then sand all of these contacts to get them nice and shiny again. And then we'll also sand the little contacts on the rotor itself. And then after that, put some isopropyl alcohol on it to get the residue off. And then put some dielectric grease, the super lube stuff. I don't have the tube handy, but, oh yeah, I do. The super lube stuff here. We'll put that on it, and then put it all back together, and that should make this thing a decent bit more reliable. And then after that, we can tackle the score reels. But I'll take this off and come back when I start the sanding. Okay, so a little bit of time jump here. It's a lot later in the day, but I'm finally getting back to work on this, so sorry if the lighting looks a little different. But I've got this piece off now, and I sanded this one off camera because my phone ran out of storage. So I ran out of storage in the middle of filming the video about sanding this. So unfortunately, I don't have that footage anymore. But yeah, I sanded all the little points on this, and it looks nice and clean now. So now it's just a matter of doing the same with all of them on this unit up here on the actual disc. So I'm just gonna take a little piece of sandpaper here and start sanding away, and these should get a lot shinier as we do this. Honestly, these already look a lot better than the ones that were like down below underneath the playfield. These are already in much better condition than those were, but they can still use some shining up, of course. And Yeah, they're looking a lot better already. This really doesn't take very long. It's about like just sand them for about a minute or so, and that's normally good enough to get them back in great looking condition. But yeah, I'll finish sanding them off camera because once again, no point in putting you through all this. Then I'll come back when that's done. Okay, so as you can see, I have gotten the rotary unit here, the player unit, put back together. I put some dielectric grease on it, and as you can see from those little lines that have appeared in the dielectric grease, I have stepped it through its paces a couple times, and it seems to be working pretty darn well now. It's nice and smooth, and all the contacts look nice and clean, and I made sure to align things properly this time. So unlike with the bonus unit, I am 100% sure that this is aligned the way it's supposed to be. The disc is lined up properly. So now the player unit is nice and clean. We can move on to all of our score reels now. There are 16 of them, because even though there are 5 digits on the score for each player, the ones place is actually just a dummy digit for all of them. It's just a hard-coded 0. There's not a reel for it. So you can only score tens, hundreds, or thousands. And then the 10,000s is just carryover from the, or no, it's not. You can actually score 10,000s in the bonus, can't you? Or no, you can't, because that's just scored as just a bunch of thousands added up, and then it carries over. So yeah, you can't score 10,000s directly. It just carries over to that. But yeah, so we've got a total of 16 score reels, 4 for each player here, that we need to take out and clean up because they are very sticky. But let's just grab one at random. I don't know, how about this one? Because it's right in front of us. And I was reading, so you just slide this over this little plastic tab here, and then you should just be able to pull this whole score reel assembly. Yep, you can just pull the whole thing back, and it should just, there it is, okay. Yep, there's our little void, and here's the score reel. Okay, so it's a decagon unit. Guess that makes sense because it's 10 numbers, but it's not a decagon; it's a circle. So I don't know. But looks, yeah, okay. So this board here, I've watched a couple of videos about these things. So this board here, basically, there's like a little thing under there, a little copper piece that rides in a track on this board, and it connects to the contacts on this board depending on which number on the reel is facing forward. So it tells the machine what the current score is, essentially. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? And then looks like underneath that we got the score reel, and then some sort of ratcheting assembly that actually moves it, and then we got some switches here. These are probably like to recognize when we hit 0, when we hit 9, and then over, yeah, okay, the video showed this too. Yeah, there's another switch over here. This is probably the end of stroke switch for the solenoid. So obviously we need to take this apart, because if we try and actuate the thing as is, you'll see that all these are pretty sticky. I just actuated it, but it got stuck while moving. It didn't finish moving. So need to rip this apart and see what we can do to get it moving properly. So it looks like we need to take out these 2 screws and take this little C-clip off and go from there. So that's what I'm going to do first, and then we'll see how it falls apart from there. All right, so I have the screws and the C-clip and this little washer thing that was underneath it removed. So let's pull this board off. And okay, yeah, this can use some cleaning. You can see the copper pads on here are not in the greatest shape, so I'll probably run some isopropyl alcohol and some sandpaper over this to shine this up a little bit. I've done enough sanding on camera, though. I'm sure you're probably getting a little bored of that, so I'll sand this off camera. And yeah, this is the little contact that runs in that track. We got one in the middle here that's probably connected to ground, and the other one is what runs in the outside track to actually connect it to the different pads. And these look a little oxidized too, so I'll probably sand them as well. And then, yeah, okay, the wheel just pops right off. And, okay, that was right here. So that's another piece. And then this, yeah, I saw that in the video. This is the actual, like, ratcheting piece. These little things fit into those little grooves there and allow it to move one way, but not the other. And then it's like a rack and pinion mechanism that actually rotates this. There's the pinion and there's the rack. And What does this spring do? Oh, I guess it pushes this upward so it remains engaged with the score reel properly. And then this little metal thing here, I'm not 100% sure what it does, but it's there. And then, yeah, this is what actually attaches to the solenoid and actuates to move the reel. This feels a little gummy though, so I think what I'm gonna wanna do is remove all of this and clean all of these, I believe this is nylon, and from what I've read, you don't want any lubricant on nylon. You want the nylon to be completely clean and dry, and you just want that bare nylon surface to slide across the mating surface. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some isopropyl alcohol and clean up all these nylon pieces to get them nice and gunk-free, nice and clean. And then if this metal plate underneath this sliding nylon piece is also dirty, I'll probably clean that with some isopropyl alcohol as well. And yeah, so I guess we can just take the spring off. Can I just pop this out like this? Oh, it's really hard to do this with one hand. I should have brought the tripod in here. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we got the little spring off. It's also possible that the spring is just weak. Okay, and then this piece comes off. Flip it over and let it fall. Oh, and it fell on the floor. I'll get that in a minute. And then this, ew. Okay, I think I might have to take the solenoid out of its little retaining clip over here in order to get this off. So I guess I'll do that and I'll be back in a second. All right, so I have removed that solenoid retention plate thing, whatever that thing is. So I guess we can just, that plunger should just like fall out if I understand how these solenoids are put together properly. Yep, okay, the plunger just comes out. And then can we just lift this up now? Just lift it up and off. Looks like we can indeed. Okay. I might also clean this plunger. Yeah, it feels a little rough. So I might clean that plunger so it slides inside the solenoid. That sleeve, can we, yeah, okay, we can push the sleeve out too. And I can clean the little nylon, gosh, it's in there good. I can clean this little nylon sleeve as well. And I'm just trying to reduce friction in every place. Wow, it is stuck in there. Just try and reduce friction in every place possible to try and get this thing to slide more smoothly. And, oh yeah, okay. This plate looks pretty yucky underneath where that thing used to slide. So I'll put some isopropyl alcohol in that to clean it up. And if it's really stubborn and still looking like that after the alcohol, I might sand that as well. And then I'll probably sand the switch contacts as well while we're in here just to get them shined up and conducting better. But I'm gonna do all that off camera because I don't wanna bore you, and I'll just come back and report back with the results. Okay, so I have finished most of the restoration process for the score reel at this point. As you can see, I have sanded all the gunk off of the little PCB that tells it which number the score reel is currently positioned on, and it looks a lot better now. And I put some isopropyl alcohol on there too. And then I've also cleaned up all of the, you can see a lot of dirty toilet paper. I don't have anything better than like toilet paper to use for this. I'm out of paper towels, so just been using toilet paper, which is not optimal. But as you can see, these parts have also been cleaned up, all this. And I've also cleaned up the reel itself. And I've only cleaned part of this because I just wanted to show you the insane difference. This is the part that I've cleaned right here. And then this is the part that I haven't cleaned. It makes such a difference to clean these score reels. So I'm gonna finish cleaning this, obviously. One thing to note with these though, do not use alcohol on these. The paint on here will be completely dissolved and just wash away if you use alcohol. So only clean these with water or do it dry. Do not put a single drop of alcohol on these or else the paint will just disintegrate. And obviously we don't want that. So yeah, just be careful of that. But one thing I sanded all the switch contacts here. So they're nice and shiny. You can see kind of a little bit in there. They're nice and shiny now. So all that's good, but I also rubbed this down with some IPA and it's still really horrible looking. So I'm gonna get some sandpaper and sand that down and see if we can get it a little bit smoother because boy, does it still feel rough. So I'll do that and come back and then we'll start putting it back together. All right, I've now sanded this plate and rubbed some isopropyl alcohol on it. You can still see a little bit of the IPA residue right there. But wow, it is nice and smooth now. It is so smooth. So I think this thing is going to move quite nicely over it now. And so I'm going to start the reassembly process now. But I can't really do that on camera because I think I'm going to need both hands for this, especially like for reinserting this little plunger into the solenoid and holding everything together as I do all that. So I'll probably just come back once things are fully assembled, and then we'll test it out and see if things are smoother. Because if they're not smoother, then all this was for nothing, and that's going to be really concerning. And I won't really know. Well, it'll probably be the spring if things are still messed up, but I guess we'll find out. Okay, the score reel is all put back together at this point, and well, it was very stuck before, and so I guess let's find out if it's still very stuck. I'm going to start clicking it through its paces. One, oh, there it is. Okay, that is so much better. Wow, okay, okay. And you can see the switches moving as, okay, the reason it was sluggish there is because I was pressing it up against the player unit, so yeah, that's not indicative of anything, but yeah, look at that. The switches are moving and the reel is moving very smoothly now. So I think that might have just fixed it. So now it's just a matter of doing that 15 more times. Oh boy. And guess how long that took? That process took about 1 hour and 10 minutes. Granted, that was my first time, so future ones might go a little faster. But yeah, even if I get it down to say 30 minutes, that's still, in 30 minutes, that's pretty optimistic to get it down that low. That's still 8 freaking hours of doing nothing but disassembling these and putting them back together. So wow, it's gonna be a fun 8 hours ahead of me, but gotta do it because these things are real screwed up. So I'm gonna get to it and just get into the grind and do all of these score reels, and I will report back when I am done with them all. And then we can put this entire head unit back onto the machine and we can test the darn thing and see how they work. Okay, so after a whole lot of work, this took literally an entire day of just nothing but working on the score reels. I was finally able to get through all 16 of them and get them all cleaned up and working a little bit better. I'm still not 100% sure if they're like all going to be perfectly functional now, but they definitely all seem like they're moving a lot more cleanly than they were before. So that's good. I think those are all going to be okay now. I've got the back box head unit thing back on top of the rest of the machine. So I say now we just power it up and give it a try and see if the score reels behave properly. So as you can see here, when I put it back together, I set all of the score reels to 1s. So this means that when I start the game and make it reset, all of the score reels are going to have to count from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way back to 0, right? So it's going to be a pretty good stress test. It's basically the worst case scenario to see if they're able to reset things in the very worst possible case. So I'm going to add a credit to the game, and well, 2 credits because, well, we already talked about how that works. And then I'm going to hit start and let's see if all of our scores reset properly this time. Okay, better, a lot better. We're still having a few numbers that are a little funny. And our 10th place here on number 3, on player 3, is not, okay, now it's good. Okay, so something's wrong with the 10th place on player 3, so I still need to look into that one a little bit, but clearly they're all working a lot better now. Everything else was able to reset just fine. There were a couple of them that still took a little longer than they should, but I think as long as they work okay during normal play, which I guess we'll find out a little bit later on, I'm going to call that good enough. And yeah, and let's just double check that our scoring is still working properly. Let's see if hundreds. Oh, wait, it didn't kick out the ball. Why didn't it? It went back to game over. That's odd. Okay, we might have found some other bug deep inside the machine, but we'll figure that out later. I just want to... Yeah, I'm not sure why it did that, but okay. We're back into a game now. I'm not sure what that was all about. But yeah, let's test the scoring. Yep, so 100s still score properly. 10s probably still won't score properly. Yep, 10s still don't score. And 1000s, I'm assuming, also probably still don't score. Yep, 1000s also do not score. So I think the next order of business is going to be figuring out why the 10s don't score properly and why the 1000s don't score properly. Once again, I'm not sure why we just had that weird glitch where it went back to game over after I started the game. It could be, when I was trying to help that 7 get back to a 0, I did accidentally press, I think I might have accidentally pressed on one of the switches connected to that score reel. So I wonder if I accidentally screwed something up when I did that. I'm hoping that's what it was. But yeah, let's tackle getting the 10s and 1000s to score properly next, because it's really hard to test the score reels any further without that. And yeah, let's start with the 10s just because it's the lower digit and it's also probably arguably the less interesting of the two. So let's just get it done first. Okay, so the first thing that I've decided to do here before I actually go in and, look at the schematics and start doing anything crazy is I just decided to take the 10-point relay down, which is actually really easy. There's just like a little retaining pin here that like holds it in. You just pull that pin out and the relay just pops right off of this bracket here. So I just took the 10-point relay off and I figured might as well just like sand the contacts and make sure they're all arranged properly before we actually start looking at the schematic. So I just took this little emery board thing that my mom had and shoved it in between the contacts and sanded them all. And you can see they're a little bit shinier than they were before. They were pretty black before, but now they're a little bit shinier. So that's good. I'm sure that'll probably help with something. And then I've also checked to make sure that they are opening and closing properly. And I've noticed this one doesn't seem to quite fully close all the way. So I've bent the bottom part of the switch up so that now when the relay pulls in, it's very clear that it does close all the way when the relay pulls in. And that is true of all of the other switches now as well. They all do seem to close when the relay pulls in. So I'm not sure if that's going to completely fix the problem as is, but like there were clearly some issues with those contacts, so it did not look like they were opening and closing properly, and they were pretty dang dirty. So I'm gonna just power the thing up and let's see if 10-point scoring is any better than it was before. So turn it on, let's add a credit, hit start. Okay. And now, let's just hit some 10-point stuff. Oh my God, oh my God, that actually fixed it. Look at that. Okay, now the question is, does it carry over to 100 when we get to 90 and then go to 0? It does. That is so cool. Does the other one work? It does. And I think the only other 10-point thing on the field is this pop bumper. Does it work? It does. Well, that completely fixed the 10-point stuff. Now I'm kind of curious if the 1000-point stuff is caused by the exact same thing. So let's pull the 1000-point relay down next and see what it looks like in that regard. So here's the 1000-point relay. The contacts are pretty, I haven't sanded it or done anything to it yet. The contacts look pretty yucky, pretty black and gross, just like on the 10-point relay. Here, there don't seem to be any issues with like things not opening and closing as they should. All the switches seem like they're open when they should be open and closed when they should be closed. Although this one switch down here at the bottom, it's very close to closed when it should be open. I wish the camera would focus a little bit better. There we go. See, it's open right now, and now it's closed. it does move ever so slightly, and it looks like it is open when it's supposed to be, but it's really close. And I think I might bend that one out a little bit so that it's open a little bit more when it's supposed to be open, just so we have a bit more of a margin of error. But I'm going to sand all these contacts, bend the switches a little bit, and then we'll test 1,000-point scoring and see if it's any better. And while I'm at it, I might also do the same thing to the 100-point relay, because even though 100-point scoring is working right now, I bet it's probably not in the greatest shape either, given that the other two are also pretty bad. So I'll probably do some servicing to that one as well. And then who knows, maybe the 10,000-point relay, which I'm assuming is this one, but I'm not 100% sure. Maybe it's bad too, so we'll find out. Okay, so I have now cleaned all of our relays back here, and including these, which these are not, there is no 10,000-point relay, actually. These are 0 relays. These are like for resetting the scores. This one, I believe, resets like player 1 and 2, and then this one's for resetting players 3 and 4. And then this one, we'll get to in a second. This isn't even a relay. I've been looking for this for a while, and this is actually something really interesting. It's not really a relay at all. But yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later. But I've cleaned those now, and now that I've done that, let's turn it on and let's see if thousands score properly now. So I'm going to, we already got a credit in there. Let's start the game. Yep, our scores have reset. We kick out the ball. Let's make sure 10s still work. They do. Let's see if, make sure they carry over. Make sure 100s work. And there it is, thousands work now too. Thousands work now too. Let's score some thousands and make sure they carry over to 10,000s. They do, look at that. That's amazing. Okay, that's great. I'm gonna add more players now, because I wanna make sure that the player unit can connect all that stuff to players 2, 3, and 4 properly, and that we don't have any weirdness there, so I'm gonna add some more credits. And then we'll start a new game. And then I'll add another player, another, and another. Okay, we got 4 players now, and we already know player 1 works, so let's just, yeah, player 1 still works. Now let's lose the ball, go to player 2. All right, let's hope player 2 works. So we got 10s. 10 works. Now let's do 100s. That looks pretty good. Now let's do 1000s. Yep, that looks pretty solid. Now let's move to player 3. That was our bonus, by the way. All right, now player 3. Yeah, let's do 10s first. There it is, 100s. And then 1000s. Look at that. Now let's lose the ball and do player 4. All right, 10s. There it is, 100s. Awesome. And 1000s. Wow. Looks like all of our scoring is working beautifully, and we're going to lose the ball, and it should go back to player 1 and give us a bonus. Look at that. That is working beautifully, and we're on ball number 2 now. That is freaking amazing. Wow. Okay. So it looks like we have totally fixed the scoring logic at this point. All of our scoring seems to be working perfectly fine now. One thing I did notice during that, though, is that it looked like it was giving us more bonus than what we had actually scored. Let me see. So if we scored this, I wonder if this 1,000 bulb was just burned out. No, okay. We have to score this twice before it adds to the bonus. But this should add to the bonus every time, but we had to score it twice before we got a bonus. And now, if we lose the ball with our bonus of 1,000, I believe if I was counting right, it gives us 2,000, not 1,000. Yeah, it gives us 2,000. So I'm wondering if my bonus unit disc that I so confidently installed in the correct position last video, maybe it isn't in the correct position. Maybe I have it like rotated off by like one position, and that's why everything is like delayed by one here. So maybe I need to adjust the bonus unit, but let's worry about that later because that's a pretty minor concern compared to some of the other stuff we got to do. But next up, the two next things I want to cover, we need to replace some lights because we got some illumination issues in the back box here. And then I also want to cover the match unit that's supposed to light up the 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 things up here, that if you match them all, if the last two digits of your score match that at the end of the game, you win a free game. And that just doesn't seem to be working at all. So what I want to do is, well, it took me forever. I had no idea where the match unit was. And then when I was cleaning those relays, I finally found the match unit. If we pull out this little pin here, the match unit is actually this tiny little relay looking thing. I thought normally it's like one of these big discs, but this is the freaking match unit. It's this little relay thing. And there you go. There's the little rotary disc on the side. And there's another rotary disc on the other side. And boy, is it dirty. I can see why this thing isn't working properly. There's a little ratchet mechanism, but it doesn't want to ratchet. Yeah, it's not ratcheting because this thing's very dirty and gummed up. So I think our next order of business is going to be to take this thing apart and see if we can clean up this absolutely horrendous looking board here. It's so dirty. But I think we can just pop off that screw there in the middle maybe, and maybe those two screws right there. And then same for this side. And hopefully that'll just cause this thing to fall apart, and then we can clean up some of these yucky contacts. Okay, so I got one of these side plates off. You can see that's the little rotor right there. It's got these two little divots on it that spin around in this track, pretty similar to the way that this guy works here, just on a much smaller scale. And then we got this washer here that goes on top of it. And then this is this little plate that applies pressure to the top of this unit, and it screws in there. And then this is just the bare board itself, which is the thing that really, really, really needs cleaning. So I'm going to put some isopropyl alcohol on this to get most of this yucky gunk off. Then I'm going to sand it, and then I'm going to do the same to the little rotary bit right there. And then I'll screw this side back on, flip the whole assembly over, and repeat the process on this side, which this part looks a little better, but the board does not really look much better. But I'll come back once I have cleaned up both of these side bits here, and who knows, I might clean that middle part. Maybe it's got some gunk on it too. Maybe I should lubricate the nylon part in the middle too. And I'll probably sand those switches as well right in there, just cause. So yeah, I'll come back once I've done all that. All right, so I've got the little match unit all cleaned up now. Everything is moving nice and smoothly now. It's really, really, really smooth. But yeah, now that that's done, I guess let's just test it and see if it's capable of matching properly. I'm honestly not even sure if the bulbs for all the numbers work. So that's gonna be a big question right there. Well, okay, there you go. That's an immediate improvement over what it did before. 20 is lit up, so I guess it's currently on 20. That's good. I'm not sure what causes the match unit to advance, like to the next number. So, because when we're testing it, we don't want it to advance because we want to just stay where it is so that we know, so it's in a set state so we can win that extra game. We'll test that it will give us that extra game like we want it to. So maybe I'll pull out the schematics and we'll take a look and see what causes the unit to advance. Okay, so I've looked on the schematic here and I found the match unit relay. It is this one here, the 00 to 90 unit relay. So that's the match unit. And if we follow its wire over here, we can see that it is triggered by a switch on the C relay. So when the C relay closes, that is what causes the match unit to advance. So if we take a look at the C relay, The C relay is the center pop bumper relay. So it looks like the match unit advances whenever you hit the center pop bumper. So it looks like the answer to simply causing it to not advance for our testing purposes is to simply just not hit the center pop bumper. And that's easy enough. So yeah, let's get to testing. Okay, so I'm gonna hit start. Yep. And it struggles to kick out the ball sometimes. I'm gonna need to work on that. There we go, finally kicked it out. That's clearly a mechanical issue though, not like an electrical one. Okay, so it's turned off the numbers. That's one thing I don't like. I honestly kind of wish the match unit would just like constantly display the number that it's currently on while the machine was playing instead of only showing at the end, because I think that would make it look cooler, honestly, and like increase the suspense. So I might actually modify it so that it just always shows that number, but that'll be for later. So it should still be set to 20 because the pop bumper hasn't been triggered. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give it 20 points. And then we'll just lose the ball. Lose the ball again. Lose the ball again. And lose the ball again. And okay, this time when we lose the ball, we should see the 20 light up at the top, and we should get an extra credit as well. So let's see if that happens. I'm gonna lose the ball, and let's see, please give an extra credit. Look at that, we got an extra credit. And we got a 20. And I heard something down here that almost sounded like the knocker. So that might have been the knocker going off. But look at that. That's really awesome. That's really awesome. Now I just want to test if we manually click the relay here. How does it advance? Does it advance in a random order, or does it just like count up? Looks like it counts down. Okay. So let's see, it doesn't wrap around. It does. Okay. So let's just test now to make sure the pop bumper thing works right. It's on 90 right now, so I'm gonna hit the pop bumper 3 times, then score 60, and we should win a free game again. So let's see if that works properly. All right, so hit pop bumper 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Then we'll score 60. Well, we've already scored 30. So 40, 50, 60. And now, lose the ball. Lose the ball again. 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 And one final time, we should, I think that's the knocker that's going off. Let me point the camera at it so we can see if we can see like the knocker fire. I think does it fire down or does it fire up? No, it fires up. Okay, so we'll be looking there. Let's see if we can see the knocker go off. Yep, that was the knocker. So we won our free game. There's the 1 and 60 is lit up. So it looks like that's working. I guess the final test will just be to make sure that now that it is working, let's make sure that if we don't match the number, that it doesn't give us a free game. So it's set to 60. Let's just score 10. Lose the ball. Lose the ball. Lose the ball. Lose it another time. And lose it a final time, and we should not get the free game this time. Sure enough, we did not get a free game. So it looks like the match unit is fixed, which is really freaking awesome. As I said though, I might bypass the fact that it doesn't show those numbers during the games. I think it would be cool to know how close you are to scoring the free game, like while you're playing the game. And if we look at the schematic, I'm kind of curious, what would you do to do that? What enables those lights? I'm not even sure where those lights are on the schematic. Oh, match lights right here. Right here. Okay. So they are enabled by the 0 position on the coin, because these are both normally closed. The P is normally closed and the AX is normally closed. What are they? Let's just make sure. P is add player unit relay. Yeah, that one's probably fine. And then AX is the reset control. Yeah, I don't think we got to worry about either of those. Those are both going to be closed. So yeah, 0 position coin unit. So when the coin unit goes to the 0 position, that switch closes, and that's what enables the match lights. So if we can just bypass that, probably just snip the wire, or just snip the wire off of the input to the match unit that feeds back to the 0 position coin unit, and just hook that straight to connect that straight to 6 volts instead of running it through the coin unit. Then those lights should just be on all the time, and we will have exactly what we want there. So I might do that a little later on. That could be pretty cool. But yeah, I think I might end this video here, because I just feel like this is a pretty good stopping point. We've done a lot, and in the next one we can start getting into more of the cosmetic stuff, because at this point I think we've kind of done most of the electrical stuff that really needs to be done to this machine. So in terms of cosmetic stuff, we need to get some of the lights working, because we've got a few bulbs that aren't functioning properly. Like you can see a couple of these guys are out. Some of these general illumination bulbs are out. I don't think the tilt light was working. Oh, it looks like the game over bulb is dead. It was working before, but now it's dead. And there are plenty of them on the playfield that aren't working, like that one, for instance. So we'll do the lights, and then after that, we will start on the playfield, clean it. We'll strip it all down, clean it, wax it, replace all our rubber rings, clean up these plastics, make it look nice and good, get this shooter refurbished a little bit, get new springs on here, all that sort of good stuff. I think that'll probably be where we go from here. But yeah, I'm gonna end this one here. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. If you got any advice, criticism, comments, anything, feel free to leave a comment down below. Remember to give this video a like if you haven't already, and subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.